أتاني مرة نزق ليسألني بما دنت، فقلت له أنا رجل أحب الله يا أنت.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل وسلم على نبينا محمد صلى الله على سيدنا Muhammad. So inshallah, as we left off on the marriage of Khadija radiallahu anha, and we said that this was the marriage where they got Nafisa, the lady, to actually take the proposal to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I also told you that in Islam, it does not really matter who actually comes and proposes. So if it's a woman that comes and proposes, that's fine. And if it's a man that comes and proposes, that's fine. Also, before we go into that, I really want to mention, and I really want to thank you as well, when we start this seerah, it's that you people who make this session really exciting. Because I told you the other day as well, if I was to speak in front of the camera or the TV, it's not going to be the way I speak, the way when we have people. It's like you guys are the food for the preachers. So when you go for the khutbahs, you know, in our countries, it's like if the imam can scream, shout and break the mimbar, then it's the best imam. People come out, they say, mashallah, what a khutbah. They didn't understand anything. But subhanAllah, when we come to Australia, the imam screaming, the first thing we say, oh, we couldn't understand anything, it was hurting my ears. And I think that's the right way. People should be polite, calm when they speak. And in our countries, the nature is like that. We're always angry. The imam has to be angry, the husband's angry, the wife's angry, the children are angry, everyone's angry. And mashallah, we're in a happy place, everyone's happy over here. So I really want to thank you. Also, I want to thank the family of Ahmed Abdul Galil. Mashallah, the things they do in the background, it's amazing. And how they've supported me as well in my cause. I don't want to go into details, but they do a great work. And I would like everyone to make special dua for them. Especially Ahmed himself and Yusuf over here. I mean, he always comes, so he deserves a special dua. And also Yusuf, who sits at the back. So they do deserve special dua, especially these three members. We are going to mention Nuruddin and Amin as well. They're not here. But anyways, you know, they're good kids as well. But the point is, whatever we see here today, it's a collective effort, and it's definitely this family. And you know, it's like مَنْ لَا يَشْكُرُ الْإِنسَانِ يَشْكُرُ اللَّهِ, that the one who does not really thank the people cannot thank Allah. So really, we have to thank the people where it's deserved. So we want to thank them, because it's because of them. These efforts, what we have these nights are because of them. And they do really take time out. If you see, Yusuf's probably been in 85% of the series. The mother's here always. That's like, she's the biggest fan of my speeches, I think. So apart from that, now going into the lesson, we said about Nafisa. So she was the lady who took the proposal, and then she went to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam instantly agreed. So when he heard, and subhanAllah, I told you, women is married for 4 things. Even Khadija was 40. She was beautiful. She came from a lineage, one of the best lineage. She was rich. So if she lived in Makkah, probably Makkah, if you say Makkah is Sydney, and she lived in the Kellyville side of Makkah. So she was rich as well. And also she was, you know, thiqah. She was the one who was a worshipper, and she was a lady of honor and dignity as well. So she had all these 4 boxes. And boys, if you're looking for all these 4 boxes in today's time, you'd be really lucky. You might find someone on the moon like that. So maybe next time when NASA's going to the moon, maybe get in the rocket ship, and you know, you never know. But having said that, for the women as well, you're not even going to find a man like that, and even on the moon as well. Those men are only in Jannah at the moment. So for that you have to leave this dunya. So we don't want you to leave the dunya, we want you to have a long life. So be patient with the men you have in the world. Men have lost patience. So inshallah, when you do go to Jannah, you will find those men which are mentioned in the hadith as well. The people like Muhammad SAW. So his marriage contract was done by, some narrations say Hamza, and some narrations say Abu Talib. Actually, the narration which says Abu Talib is more authentic. Why? Because I told you, Hamza was only 3 years older than him. And Hamza again was a person, he was part of the marriage, but Abu Talib makes sense as well. He was the elder of the family, and he went and he did that marriage ceremony. And now, if you look at that marriage, an amazing marriage, lasted for 25 years. 25 years. The love stories of, you've heard about Romeo and Juliet and all these other things, I mean, they're nothing. The family, the marriage of Khadija and Rasulullah was even greater than that. In 25 years, no neighbor heard a sound come from the house. There was no tiff in the house. There was not even banging of pots or anything like that. You know, sometimes you might walk to outside a Muslim house, you might see an earthquake coming. It's not an earthquake, just ignore it. It might be the wife angry, throwing the dishes at the husband. So maybe if you do go to meet someone at that time, just go sit back in the car and come back in another time. They're just having their time of their love of, you know, the lovely moments of their life. So fighting is also part of the marriage as well. I mean, humor is very important, and one of the hadith of Rasulullah, كَانَ مَزَاحًا فِي الْبَيْتِ. And I am very humorous. Like even in the house, even my kids say, I'm very humorous. When I'm angry as well, they really are not scared of me. So my wife does the scaring job. So, but this was a marriage which was really made in heaven. And when Rasulullah SAW was with her, he actually was not married to any other women. He was not married to anyone else. So 25 years of his life, he actually was with her the whole time. And also, Khadija had a very special place in the heart of Rasulullah. So he had a preference over Khadija. And also for us, we need to understand the Quran says, Surah Ahzab actually mentions, all the wives of Rasulullah SAW are the mothers of the believers, Ummahatul Mu'mineen. They all are the ones that we say are our mothers. So we should not say anything bad about any particular wife. As some people from another mother, brothers from another mother, they call Aisha radiallahu anha, they use very derogatory terms for her. She was the second best wife, without a doubt. She was a wife who was intellectual, she was a wife who was knowledgeable, she was a wife who was muhaddith. So we should not be calling any names to any of the wives of Rasulullah. Definitely he had preference for Khadija. And it is said, when Khadija radiallahu anha passed away, she had a sister, whose name was Hala bint Khuwaylid. Hala was actually very much resembling to Khadija in her etiquette, in the ways. So whenever Hala would come in the house, she would announce the way how Rasulullah SAW would hear Khadija when she was coming to the house. Radiallahu anha. So he had a special place for Hala as well. You know, the women, and also, I mean, we should not back the women all the time. Even the men do have jealousy. But women have this more than the men, as you know. But it is said that in this Sahih Isnad, there's a story about Hala when she actually visited Rasulullah SAW. She announced herself, and Rasulullah SAW said, Allahumma Hala, Allahumma Hala. So he said, may it be Hala, may it be Hala. So he's making dua. And at that point, Aisha radiallahu anha actually, I think Nuruddin and Amin, they heard it, they missed out on the dua, they just came running from Glenwood. And the dad's here as well, mashallah. So they said, he made the dua, and at that point, Aisha radiallahu anha said, she was a bit jealous at that time, and she said, Ya Rasulullah, didn't Allah replace you with someone more beautiful than the lady whose gums were red? Basically, she was trying to say, she was an old lady without teeth as well. So in jealousy, she said it in a way, didn't Rasulullah give you someone better than her? And at that point, Rasulullah SAW got really angry. And his anger was not like the anger of men today, that they send the wife home. It was not like that. He showed it in a very poetic way. He said, Wallahi ma abdala khayran minha. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never replaced Khadija in my life. Never gave me someone better than Khadija in my life. And he says, آمنت به كفرت الناس. She believed in me when everyone actually disbelieved in me. She was the first one to believe in me. So this is what I said the other day as well, that everyone over here, we want to change the world. It is a very good, a vision, a dream to change the world, but start from your own house. When you want to change the world is actually inside the house. It's your wife and your children, they're your world. And once you work with them, then you start going and bringing the khair to the ummah. And when you look at the life of Rasulullah, he changed, the first person he worked to change was his wife. That's where he went. He had a best friend. Today, kids who sit over here, my message to you, your friends are really good. Muhammad SAW had a best friend. Every messenger, Allah gave him somehow a helper. There was a helper for him. But not for Ibrahim in a way, how Ibrahim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ibrahim was a nation. But Allah even gave Muhammad SAW a helper. And that was his friend, Abu Bakr Siddiq. And it was his friend, radiallahu anh, even before he was a messenger. They were known to be close even then. And it's also said Abu Bakr Siddiq was a muwahid, like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was a muwahid. He believed in one Allah in that corrupted society. So he was a muwahid. And what is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying? He did not go to his friend. Who did he go to? He went to his wife. Where did he go afterwards? To his children. Who was his child? Ali radiallahu anhu. He was looking after that child. He gave him the message. Who did he give the message afterwards? He didn't go to his friend. Still didn't go to his friend. Who was the other person in the house? Zayd ibn Haritha, the adopted son of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was in the house. He gave him the da'wah. And this is how he moved on to his friend afterwards. So it is important for everyone to sit over here. When you get the khair, you give it to the house first. And it's amazing, Rasulullah taught us from the hadith, خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِ وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِ. That the best of you are the ones who are best to their wives, the children, the wives. Ahl in Arabic could be, it's a very broader meaning, it's a family. But the Arabs understand when you say ahli, you really mean your wife. Because your partner in the Jannah is your wife. She's your partner. Your children are not going to be with you. Not even your mom, not even your dad, not even your sons, your daughters. It's your wife that will be with you. And you know what, for the husbands, let me tell you one thing. Today we can watch the TV for 12 hours non-stop and we don't get bored. But we look at our wives after 5 to 10 seconds. And I'm not, immune to that. I'm not saying I'm the best man. When we look to our wives for a little while, we just get bored, we just move our faces. But in Jannah, one of the narrations says you look at your wife, it will be over years. Some ulama say up to 50,000 years. You'll be looking at your wife, you're not going to get bored. You're going to feel like you just watched her for a moment. So if you don't really like to look at your wives, in Jannah Allah will replace that. So inshallah, that Jannah will be a better place. It's reality. Kids, they don't like to look at their parents. They will sit in front of the PS4 or Xbox for hours and hours. And they just watch that. And we love the mobiles. Before it was TV, now it's the mobiles. And subhanAllah, if men are actually really attracted to mobile phones. And the men satisfy their change of, multiple wives through the mobile phones. Every year they just change their phones. So every year, mashallah, a new contract comes, a new wife, a new phone comes in their life. And that goes for women as well. But what it is, it's really, Rasulullah SAW is teaching us that how much he loved Khadija. No matter she was gone, no matter how old she was, he always had a special place for her. And then he said, وَصَدَقْتَنِي إِذْ كَذَّبْنِي النَّاسِ. And she is the one who found me truthful when everyone said I was a liar. Everyone said I was a liar, and Khadija was the one who said I am the truthful. And then he said, وَوَسَدْنِي بِمَالِهِ. And she was the one who spent her money on me. She actually spent her money on me. She was the one when no one wanted to spend anything on me. She was the one who did it. And then he said, وَرَزَقَنِي مِنَ اللَّهِ وَلَدْ دُونَ غَيْرِهَا. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me with children, and Allah did not bless me with children with any one of them. This is, he's saying it earlier on, but later on, this is now, it is not contradictory statement, because he was not married to Maria bint Qibtiyya at this time. So Maria was another wife of Rasulullah who gave her another son, and that was Ibrahim. So now let's look at this was the position of Khadija. So no matter how old she was, it was said 15 years old. You know, if you are a 25-year-old, you know, someone who's 25-year-old, and if you sit next to someone who's 40 years old, there's a major difference. Just have a think of this. And how much he loved that lady. She passed away when she was 65. Rasulullah was still 40 at that time. Still 40. So imagine that. So it's really important that how much love he had for that lady. As he had 4 to 6 children with this lady, and the first child was Qasim. Qasim was his first child, and that's why his kunya is through Qasim. Rasulullah SAW said, after me you can have a name Muhammad, that's not a problem. Even you can have a name Qasim, but you cannot have my kunya, because Abul Qasim is me, and no one can be Abul Qasim. So if you have children who are Qasim, don't call yourself Abul Qasim. Because he said this is restricted for me. When people say Abul Qasim, it's me. It's Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It's not anyone else. So if you do have a son called Qasim, have another kunya. If you want to be called Abba or you call yourself, you call yourself Abu something else. I'm not saying call Abu something else, meaning just add a name to it. So, well, even Abu something else sounds nice, you know, it's very English and Arabic. There's a mix of culture there. I don't know who would like to call him Abu something else. So, Abu Qasim is the kunya only for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it's for no other person. We cannot take it. Alhamdulillah. Ahmed over here does not have a son called Qasim, he's Abu Yusuf. Me, my son is Ibrahim, I'm Abu Ibrahim. And I don't think so anyone's got a son who's Qasim. I'm just assuming. But if you do have it, don't call yourself, especially for a man. Because the kunya or Rasulullah was implying was for Abu, not You can be Qasim, but not really Abu Qasim. So then he had Zaynab, she was the eldest. Then he had 2 other daughters, Ruqayya, which was the wife of Usman, and then he had another daughter, which was the wife of Usman as well, Kulthum, and then he had another daughter, which was Fatima, radiyallahu anhunna. So these are all, you know, may Allah have mercy on all 4 of them. These are the daughters of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Fatima is the wife of Ali radiallahu anhu, and Zaynab the wife of As ibn al-As. So there was a man, he was from Quraysh, and he was not a Muslim right till the end. He becomes a Muslim, and I don't know if you've heard one of my khutbahs when I spoke about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I gave the example of Zaynab and how this husband took refuge in the house in Uhud. when the Muslims died, and how Rasulullah actually gave protection. But that's not the time here, inshallah. But yes, this husband becomes a Muslim later on. His name is As ibn al-As. So, and then you have Uthman, who is Zul Nurayn. Why is he called Zul Nurayn? Because he's married to two daughters of Rasulullah. Now Sharia, need to know this, a man cannot marry two daughters at the same time. You cannot marry two sisters at the same time. So for example, Uthman was married to Ruqayya, he could not have married to Kulthum. So for that, he has to either divorce that sister, or she has to die, or they cannot be together in order for him to be with another sister. And this is how Islam protects jealousy. So it does not be, it is belittling the other sister who's in the house. So this is part of, they are not mahram, don't get me wrong. Even if you're married to the sister, the other sister is not mahram. It doesn't mean you can't marry her, but she's not a mahram. But she can be married once, the first sister or the first sister dies or she's divorced, then she can be married. So that's how it works. And Rasulullah SAW also said about Uthman radiallahu anhu, very quickly, he said, Uthman, if I had 100 daughters, I would have married one to you, one after the other. So that's how much he loved Uthman. So for our brothers from another mother, if they're listening, Uthman was a special man in the life of Rasulullah SAW. And a lot of people belittle Uthman radiallahu anhu. A lot of people, even the people from Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Not to name anyone, just to name one Mawlana, just for you guys to also understand. There's a book called Khilafat wa Mulukiyat, or Khilafah wa Mulukiyat. It's called the Caliphate and the Kingship. It's done by one of the leading scholars of Pakistan. His name is Abu al-A'la al-Mu'dudi. And for me, the name itself is problematic, Abu al-A'la. I mean, that name itself is very problematic, but we leave his affair with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wrote a book. In that book, the man, mashallah, he did not spare anyone. The only one he did not attack was his own family. But when it came to any other person, mashallah, he just desecrated everyone. He had problems in the life of Uthman. He said Uthman had problems. And he also had problems with Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. A person needs to understand the ones who are dead, their affairs are with Allah, spare them. And worry about yourself. People don't wake up for Fajr Salah, but they are the first ones to criticize Uthman. Uthman, the one who built the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We pray in that masjid. Uthman had the title of Zul Nurayn. Just I'm deviating, but I'll give you this. We all do charity. Everyone's got a big heart. You all have big heart. But listen to this about Uthman. The heart of Uthman was bigger than anyone's. I say that, wallahi, I mean it. In the day of Tabuk, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, who will finance the conquest? Uthman said, I will. He brought 300 camels and gave it to Rasulullah. 300 camels. One camel, today, a red camel is like a Ferrari. Consider that. It was a Ferrari for Arabs. I mean, it was a four-wheel drive. Camel is a four-wheel drive in desert. It's not like a horse or a donkey. It actually goes faster, long legs. It's like four-wheel. You put it on the forward gear and it just goes in the desert. It cruises. And that's how it is. For the youngsters, they need to understand. So like Land Cruiser in a desert. So he gave 300 of Land Cruisers. And then Rasulullah said, who's going to finance the army? He's given 300 already. He goes back, he gives another 300. Rasulullah says, who's going to finance the army? He's not stopping. He goes back, he gives another 300. That's 900 Land Cruisers. If you like Nissan Patrol, yes, you can call that as well. 900 of those. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, who's going to finance the army? Uthman goes, leaves the gathering, and comes back with a sack full of gold coins. And he puts it in the lap of Rasulullah. Rasulullah starts flickering the coins and he says, Usman, no one can stop you to go to Jannah. Not even your actions can stop you now to go to Jannah. And the man has this, he probably didn't even give a peanut for the sake of Allah, and he challenges Usman's intention. Such people really make me angry. Alhamdulillah, I didn't see him, he died even before I was born. But these are the books that we should be avoiding. They are the ones who act like doctors and they start operating on the affairs of Sahaba. Me and you are nothing. Allah says in the Quran, رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه. Allah is pleased with them, they're pleased with Allah. Leave them alone. They're the ones going to Jannah. Me and you, we don't even know if we're even going to get to the door of Jannah. And then we're attacking the people who are inside Jannah. Imagine that. If Allah even takes us there, that is a blessing. Say Ameen, inshallah we'll be there. So, he had 3 sons. One was Qasim, we already mentioned about him. Then he had another son, Abdullah. Abdullah was a very special son. Why? Because he was born when Rasulullah was given Risala. So he was 40 and he actually had Abdullah at that time. So that's why they used to call him At-Tayyib At-Tahir. Some ulama made some mistakes. They said Rasulullah had another 2 sons, At-Tayyib At-Tahir. Actually, At-Tayyib and Tahir are the names of Abdullah. He was actually known by that. And so they were his titles. And they're not the names of Rasulullah SAW as well. So these were his titles. So now, also he had another son which was Ibrahim. And Ibrahim was not from Khadija radiallahu anha. As we said, he was after, from Maria al-Qibtiyya. Maria al-Qibtiyya was actually given as a gift from Egypt, the Coptic. She was a Coptic, given when they went on the conquest at that time. And so she was married to Rasulullah. She had a son, Ibrahim. He only lived 7 days. He died on the day of eclipse. And at that time, Rasulullah cried. None of his sons outlived him, none of them. I think the longest that lived was Abdullah, probably 2 years, not more than that. And there was a reason for that. Because today when we have a son, then we make sure we give him the kingdom. We don't give it to anyone. But Rasulullah, I'm not saying Rasulullah Iyadhu Ta'ala would do that, but people would make them the kings after Rasulullah would have passed away. So that was the wisdom of Rasulullah. There's many other reasons. Now, I'm going to speak about a very important incident today. So the next 20 minutes I'll spend on that. So, one of the things that happened in this time now, after this marriage was going, everything was really good. When Rasulullah turned 35, just before he was about to become the Nabi of Allah, a flood came in Mecca. And it destroyed the foundations of the Kaaba, and it was really in a very shattered form, and it was about to collapse. And so they all came together. And this is one narration, Ibn Ishaq, he mentions that. And Sa'd actually says, there was a woman, and the Arabs know Bakhur, you all know that. You love it, and you put it in your house as well. And that's why it smells nice. There was a lady who was in charge to take the Bakhur and give the fragrance to the Kaaba. And at that point, this lady tripped, or somehow the fire caught the kiswa and it burned the Kaaba. That's how it was destroyed. I mean, it was not completely destroyed. It was the foundations were destroyed, and it was in a very shaky, like it was about to fall off. That's how it was. So now they all came together and they went back and forth. Who's going to touch the Kaaba? Who's going to do it? You need to understand, Arabs were very scared after Abraha. How many years did the Abraha incident had happened now? How many years old was Rasulullah? 35. When did the Abraha incident happen?
0.
35 years ago, that's right. So it was fresh in their memories. So they didn't want to go destroy the Kaaba. They were all scared. Who's going to do it? So who's going to do it? This was in their mind. But before that as well, they knew there will be a big cost affiliated in order to bring the Kaaba back up. For that, they said, we are going to have some conditions. And they had 3 conditions. And they said, look, we don't have enough money, and we cannot finance this on our own, so we need to gather some money. Because we're going to break this, this is going to require a lot of money. And also Arabs were not known to work with the block bricks, like stone bricks. They were the craftsmen. They could build things with the baked clay bricks, which is the one which are used in Australia. Those are some of the kind of bricks they would work with. The stone bricks which were in Kaaba, they were not very familiar with that. Remember, the foundation was built. I'm going to take you back in the history to make you understand where Kaaba comes from. Many narrations. I'm going to just summarize all the narrations. A wide majority of scholars say Kaaba was always there, but my belief is, I go in line with Ibn Kathir rahimahullah ta'ala. He says Kaaba was not there, the foundations were there. Allah had already put a place on the earth. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Ibrahim to raise the foundations. So the foundation was there, the place was known, but Ibn Kathir says the Kaaba wasn't there. Now there is one narration, very quickly. It says Adam alayhi salam is the one who built the Kaaba. It was destroyed in the time of Nuh alayhi salam. The flood came, it took everyone out, it took the Kaaba out as well. After that came Hud and Saleh. They're the only Nabi of Allah who never did tawaf of Kaaba, because they were too busy with their people were difficult, and that's why when they were destroyed they never got an opportunity to do tawaf. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, then he came, all Nabis of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done tawaf, they visited that place. So I go with the opinion of Ibn Ishaq, and I find that more thiqah, I find that more authentic. And yes, Allah says, Rafa'na or Rafa'na, the word which is Rafa'na in Arabic means to raise. When it's used in the Quran, it actually implies there was already something over there. So Ibrahim just raised it. So to reconcile with this, the best opinion is of Ibn Kathir. There was no Kaaba, there was the foundation. Ibrahim is the one who actually built the Kaaba from the scratch. And how did he build it? We all know he was standing on a high place on a stone, like the project manager, and his son was putting all the stones together, and he told, now there was one place left, he told his son to get a best stone he can find. By the time his son came back, Hajar Aswad was already there, his father's already put it, and he said, where did this stone come from? He said, Jibreel came, brought it down when you were away looking for a stone. So that's how the Kaaba came to be. Kaaba was destroyed. What we see today, Kaaba was never like this. Before the Arabs went to destroy it and to rebuild it. Why did they want to destroy it? It's like something is falling off. And if you understand building, something's falling off, it cannot be renovated. If you renovate it, it's not going to make any difference. So you would need to break it and then start new construction. For that, they had to break it. So in the time of, we spoke about Amr ibn Luhay, in his time, the Kaaba was big four-sided structure, but one of the walls was curved. So how many people know Hatim? You can probably remember that. You've been to Umrah, most of you have been to Saudi. You know the area, which is the round area, which is the corner, that's how the Kaaba was built. It had 3 straight walls, and the 4th wall was curved. And that was part of it. So when you're going for Umrah, don't try to go between the cube. Why? Because if you go between the cube, the tawaf is not complete. You know what, I'm sounding very optimistic. You probably will not be able to go through that because there's so many people in there. But if it's busy, don't try to just do the round of that square box. That's not the whole Kaaba. Actually, that circle, that Hatim, Hajar Ismail, which is called, that is part of the Kaaba, Hajar Ismail. And so you have to go around that. So now the Arabs wanted to do the construction. 3 conditions they laid, very simple conditions. We're not going to use any prostitution money. And the Arabs were very big on that. And the second thing they said, we're not going to use any interest money. And they were very big at that as well. And the third thing they said, we're going to not use any dhulm money, that we have gone and deceived someone. And guess what? When the donation came, there was not much money that came. So they realized how haram their money was. They realized that. Because the Arabs actually knew that, what they were doing in their daily life. I told you, why did they start their business of buying new clothes? Because they wanted to run their shops. And so that's why the poor people would take their clothes off and they would go around the Kaaba. And so, being nude was okay. It's like today's culture. I mean, the white people say, we are actually, modernity, like we're going on the limits, the high limits of being modern. Let them know about Quraysh. Quraysh were already doing nudies like 1400 years ago. When they talk about being modern, Quraysh was more modern than them. They were actually doing tawaf like that, and it was okay for them. So, whatever is happening now is like people, it's already been done and said. The people of today, and I don't want to be in the news for that, I'll just say Rainbow Nation. The Rainbow Nation, and the people who are smart probably got that. Rainbow Nation was about 1,000 and 1,000 years ago. They've already come and gone and been destroyed. And if they're popping up now, that's not a new thing. We already know about them. And the kids only think rainbow comes after rain. You know what? At times when rainbow comes, Allah actually has to send rains of stone to take the rainbow away as well. This is what happened in the Quran. So, what it is, these are the three conditions, and when they gathered the money, they were amazed that what's happened? We only have a little bit of money, but they made it a pledge that they're not going to use any haram money. So whatever they had, they collected that, and now they didn't have enough money. So what they decided, they now went again, that what are we going to do, what are we going to do? They said, you know what, we're going to go ahead with this. We're going to build a Kaaba, and whatever is left, we're going to leave that part. So what happened was, what you see today is what Quraysh did with their halal money. But don't think that it's the same structure, because it's been destroyed. I'll tell you later on today how many times it's been destroyed and rebuilt. Destroyed and rebuilt as well. It's happened. So they went with that structure. Now they need the material. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is willing everything happening for Quraysh. They don't have the money. There was a ship that was going to Habasha. The Romans, they had sent a ship, and it was going to Habasha. So you know the Sham, the Byzantines, they were there, and there was a ship coming from Arabia, and it actually capsized close to Jeddah, where the seas are. And it capsized over there, and it had a lot of material. It had those stones, it had wood in it, and it had the architect which knew how to work with the stones. Remember I told you, they didn't know how to work with the stones. They knew how to work with baked clay. And this was a new structure for them. So they found stones as well, bricks. And they also got the wood, because they decided they're going to put the roof, when they set the roof up, it will be made of wood. Why? So that water cannot seep through, and they will make it a solid structure. So all this they got from that ship. Even then again, it was not enough, so they had to, whatever the money they raised, they used that to buy it. But they were now saying, these are the signs of Allah. Look, Allah actually helped us. The stones came. Even this guy, the Roman who came, he knew how to work. So they were very happy with all these signs that were coming their way. So basically, what they did now, they changed the structure a bit, and some they did it for their own purpose. Before this happened, now they had to break the structure down. So now when they wanted to break the structure down, they were all scared. The story is very real in their mind. And now also remember this fact, that Rasulullah has seen the Kaaba the old way as well. He's 35 years old. Flood has just come. He's a young person. He knows how the Kaaba looks like. So no one is going with their axe to hit the first brick and to break it. No one's going to do that. They all are scared. They're like, if we do it, Allah's wrath's going to fall upon them. So now Walid ibn Mughira is the one who just comes out and he says, I'll do it. And so they all say, yeah, you do it. And they will follow you. And Walid ibn Mughira, who knows who Walid ibn Mughira is? That's right, he's Khalid bin Walid's father. He's the second richest man of Makkah after Khadija radiallahu anha. The second richest man of Makkah. He was so rich, but his son grew up in poverty. He was one of the richest men of Makkah. Al-Mughira, very, very rich person. So now, what happens is, Walid ibn Mughira, now look at the warped mentality of the Arabs. He goes close to the Kaaba and he's scared, everyone's scared. He's like, what's going to happen? He says, oh Allah, don't be scared. When we break your house, we'll rebuild it again. That's what he says. Oh Allah, don't be scared. And so this is how the warped mentality of the Arabs were. Oh Allah, don't be scared. We're going to break it and we'll rebuild it for you. And he hits the brick and he breaks it right between Hajar Aswad and Yamani corner. So Yamani corner, Hajar Aswad is the place where you make only one dua. Who knows that dua? You've been to Umrah. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. This is the sunnah of Rasulullah. Whenever you pass the Yamani corner to Hajar Aswad on that wall, you just keep on making this dua. It's actually one of the best du'as. Why? If you understand what's behind this, you're asking for khair in the dunya, you're asking for double khair in the akhirah. Why double khair? Because that life is eternal. SubhanAllah, we ask for double, triple and quadruple in dunya, but when it comes to Jannah, we're just like, we're like the Muslim student who's waiting for the multiple choice questions to pass his exams. You know, we're like that. We love the multiple choice questions. A, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Because there's only 4. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So that's how we do it. So this is where he breaks it. Now no one is going after he's broken some of the bricks and he's made a hole through it. No one's going. They're like, you know what, we're going to wait for one day. Maybe Allah's wrath's going to come tonight. So we're not going to go. And when you're going to come alive tomorrow, then we're going to come and break the Kaaba with you. And Walid ibn Mughira, he just goes, he comes back, now everyone sees alive, okay, it's fine. They all start breaking it. They all start breaking it, and now they've completely broken it, and now they start digging it. So they want to have a very solid foundation. People who know building industry, personally myself, you know, I always used to think, why are these architects so crazy? Why do they have to dig so deep and then they have to build a house? I mean, why can't they just start from the top, you know? They have to save money. But now I know foundation is very important. And that's why if your child's foundation is very important, he will be a great Muslim. That's why foundation, the word foundation is very important. So when you lay the foundation of your child, when you teach him religion or her religion, you make sure you teach them in the early years. And you make them fear Allah and love Allah at the same time. Because if you will teach that later on in the life, it's going to be the house that I always wanted to build for myself. Alhamdulillah, I understood the architecture in my life. Imagine if I built a house like that, we're just blown away by wind. So now they start digging in. They say they go so deep, they come to these green stones. They've never seen these kind of stones before. And they're green stones, they're like a foundation, they see something. And the ulama say this was the foundation of the Kaaba, which was where Allah told Ibrahim to raise it. So that was already there. So one of the person tries to break through that, and they say we're going to go more deep, we're going to go make it more deep so nothing happens. As soon as he propels the stone with the X, tries to lift it up, what happens is a blinding light comes from the bottom of the ground and right in his eyes, and he just drops his axe and the green stone goes back in that place. One of the narration, Ibn Ishaq says, as soon as he did that, Makkah shook until the stone went down and it went back on that place. There are two different narrations. I think the more thicker one is the one in which probably the blinding light came out, but Allah did not want them to go more deeper. That was the place. And so they started building from there, and from there what they build is what is today. A cube which you see, and the place where the Hajar Ismail is, where the rock is, the curved rock, which was actually the part of the Kaaba. So this is what they could achieve with the halal money they had. They didn't have any other money, so they left it like that. This was their decision. Now, there were two tribes who were really involved in that. So it was, one of the tribe was Banu Abd-Dar, which was really up there, and the other tribe, which was really involved in there, was Banu Shayba. And so these were the tribes who were really up in the front. And one of the things also, this is what I did today, and I'll just very quickly, I want to talk to you about the tribes, so you can understand. So you have about 7-8 tribes within Quraysh, and they all come from Fihr. Remember, if you go back to the Seerah lesson, we told you about Fihr. Fihr is what Quraysh is considered to be. So one of the tribe is Banu al-Harith ibn Fihr. And this is the tribe of none other than a very famous man, Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah. If you guys know Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah, that's his tribe. And then this is how he comes from Quraysh. And then the other tribe is Banu Amir. Banu Amir is a tribe of Suhail ibn Amr. Suhail ibn Amr, you probably know him from Surah al-Hudaybiyah. Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah is the general of Umar ibn Khattab. When he caught Marshal Khalid bin Walid, he gave the reins to Abu Ubaidah. And Abu Ubaidah was also the 10th promised one, the one who was Asharatul Mubashirun. And then you have Banu Adi. Banu Adi is a tribe of none other than Umar ibn Khattab. And I had said this in the khutbah today, and wallahi I'll repeat it, because every time I repeat it I feel good inside. I said, after Rasulullah, if Allah grants me Jannah, after Rasulullah, once I've seen him, the second person I would like to see is Umar ibn Khattab. Not even my mother, not even my father there. I would definitely want to see them. But the second person after Muhammad SAW, I want to see Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. A man who I have always envisaged in my life to be like him, but unfortunately I'm more like Usman. I'm nowhere close to Umar ibn Khattab. Imagine if I was Umar, people would just start shaking if I walked in. So but I really like this man, I have a great respect for him. That's the only Muslim who made the book of Michael Hart the 100 most influential people in the world. He was 51st in that book. And Muhammad SAW was number 1. And Umar ibn Khattab was a statesman. Again, it's not the seerah of Umar ibn Khattab. I always get deviated when I speak about him. So very quickly, you've got Banu Taym. Banu Taym is the tribe of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. You've got Banu Saham. Banu Saham is the tribe of your leader. Most of you come from that country, Amr ibn al-As. And you've got Banu Makhzum. And this is the other tribe which was in the start of the Kaaba. This is the tribe of Walid ibn Mughira, which is Khalid bin Walid. He's from that tribe. And then you've got Banu Zuhra. Banu Zuhra is a tribe of the mother of Rasulullah SAW, Amina. And then you've got Banu Abd-Dar. We all know Banu Abd-Dar were the ones who had the keys of Dar al-Nadwa. And they are the sons of Qusay, the one who was not very famous, if you remember that. So there he had 4 sons. Banu Abdul Manaf was a great-great-grandfather of Rasulullah, and another son which was Banu Abd-Dar, not very famous. So he barred the other 3 sons. So one was Ibn Qusay, Abd Qusay, Abd Manaf, Abd Shams, and Abd Dar. So he barred Abd Shams, Abd Qusay, and Abd Manaf, and he gave everything to Abd Dar. So Abd Dar is the one who had Dar al-Nadwa afterwards. And then you have Banu Abd Shams, and this is the tribe of Usman, Muawiyah, and Abu Sufyan radiallahu ta'ala ajma'een. They are all the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then you have Banu Nawfal. Banu Nawfal is the tribe of Sa'id ibn Zayd. Sa'id ibn Zayd is also from Ashratul Mubashirun, and that's his tribe. And then you have Banu Hashim. We don't have to tell you who Banu Hashim is. And Banu Hashim also has sister tribe, which is Banu Muttalib. Banu Muttalib is the tribe of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Banu Hashim is the greater tribe where you have all the other people, which are Abu Talib and all the other people. They come in there. And then you've got Banu As'ad. Banu As'ad is the tribe of Khadija bint Khuwaylid and Warqa ibn Nawfal. These are the people. So these are the main Arab tribes. So the ones who are going to fight Now, because they've completed the Kaaba, everything is done. Now everything is done and dusted. They come to an argument who's going to put Hajar Aswad, this special stone, there. Because they knew this is a special stone. So Banu Abd-Dar said, we are the ones who are the custodians, so we're going to put it. Banu Makhzum said, which is Khalid bin Walid's father, I am the one who broke the Kaaba first. And you all were scared, so I am going to put it. So now they were having this debate. So you remember the culture of the Arabs, they would bring like a pot of blood, and they would dip their hands in it. So now they're, calling for war. So Banu Makhzum orders a pot, and they all start dipping their hands in. And they said, Wallahi, until we are given the right to put it in, we are going to go on war and fight till the last one is left, till we will put it. And now Banu Abd-Dar said, we are also going to do that. So they bring a pot as well, they dip their hands in it as well. And so they're about to go on a war. And so now, it's a very difficult situation, that how to diffuse this situation. So now they are just arguing between them. One of the wise men over there tells them that he's from Banu Shayba. So, and he says to them that why don't we, between you nominate a person, and you all come, you all agree on that person, and that person will put the stone in. And they say it's a good idea. So they all come together, they say, you know what, we're not going to nominate anyone from us, but let's say whoever will enter from Bab Abd Shams. So even then, at that time, they had gates. So he said, whoever's going to enter from Bab Abd Shams, he will be the one that we will choose to put the stone in. Now they're waiting. Who's going to enter? And guess what? Muhammad SAW comes. And they said, As-Sadiq, As-Sadiq. They said, Al-Amin, Al-Amin, Radina, Radina. They said, this is the noble one. And this is the one who's the truthful, honest one. We all agree with him. We all agree with him. And so he comes down. Muhammad SAW is a very wise man. So he inquires what's happening. They said, we've chosen you. We want you to put it. A 35-year-old man, such wisdom. He says, you know what? I'm not going to put the stone in. You all deserve to put the stone in. He gets a cloth and he asks all these tribes to hold it from every corner, and he puts the stone in the middle. And he holds the stone, and they all take it close to the Kaaba, and then he, with his blessed hands, he places it there. And so he listened to all the tribes. He killed all Asabiyat, and he said, you all are part of it, and how smart man he was. And he saved them from conflict, and he made everyone feel blessed that we were all part of it. Now, very quickly, a history before we go into the questions. Kaaba, Rasulullah SAW, when he came back from Fatha Makkah, and now he's the leader. And he says to Aisha, radiallahu anha, he's sitting on the hill, he's looking at Kaaba. He said, if I did not fear your people turn their heels back on Islam, I would have put the Kaaba how it was when I saw it first. So he remembers the structure, he knows it, and he's showing wisdom. What's that wisdom? Do not push people into religion when they're not ready for it. Basically, if you change their settings instantly, they will retaliate. For example, some sisters do not wear hijab. Don't push them to wear that. Some brothers, do not have a lihya. You don't have to have a beard like me. I'm not saying to have such a long beard. There are advantages of it, and if your beard is not growing, your children can cling onto it. They don't need to go have chin-up bars. They can do chin-ups on your beard. They can get taller. There are some advantages as well, but you don't have to have such a long beard. But what it is, Imam Shafi, actually his beard is very different to the beard of other ulama. Imam Shafi says the word lihya actually means the hair that comes out of the face. So that's why mainly the people who follow Imam Shafi, their beard is the way how the Imam has described it. The only Imam who says to leave the beard and do not cut it. It's definitely the best Imam in the world, Imam Hanbal, rahimahullah ta'ala. And he said to really grow your beard long. And we all respect all Imam's decisions. Imam Abu Hanif is the one who says beard is something that comes out of your fist. Whatever comes out, you cut it. Imam Malik has a different opinion, very close to Imam Shafi's opinion. And that's why with the beard issue, do not make it a life and death situation. Again, these are some things, use wisdom with sisters. And you know, there's a placing over here, it's a very family gathering. If you want to change it, and sometimes change is not accepted by a lot of people. We work with the people. So Rasulullah is saying, if I change the structure of the Kaaba, people will turn their heels back on religion and say, look at Muhammad, as soon as he became the leader of Makkah, he changed the structure of Kaaba. Because they were new Muslims. He understood that. He could have done it because he's a leader. So that's a wise leader. And then after that, Abdullah ibn Zubair knew the wasiyah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Meaning the wasiyah, he knew how the Kaaba was because he's heard from Rasulullah. He had a fight between Muslims fought. Unfortunately, we still fight. It's not like it's not a new thing for us. We've been fighting for many years. And so Muslims had a fight amongst each other. Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Saqafi actually had a war with Abdullah ibn Zubair. In that war, Kaaba was destroyed, partly destroyed. So what did he do? He put the Kaaba how it was even before the Quraysh really newly built it. So it's back, the wall was like a curved wall, he put it exactly that way. Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, when he defeated Abdullah ibn Zubair, he came back and he said, look at this man, this evil man. He changed how the Kaaba used to be. He broke the Kaaba from that part and he put it back in the queue. Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, when he heard the hadith, he said, look, how did he change it? I want to put it back to the way Rasulullah wanted it. And now Imam Malik, rahimahullah ta'ala, was there. Very special man, Imam Malik. He said to Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, leave it. He said, don't make the Kaaba the toy, the hands of the kings. Because if you're going to change it, another king will come, he will change it. If you're going to change it, another king will come, he will change it. The Kaaba has also very recently been destroyed in the flood in the 1940s. And there are pictures of that on the web, you can actually see it. And at that time, the Saud family, and subhanAllah, this is one thing I want to say, I'll delete it afterwards on the camera. And my love for Saudi, one of my friends today, we were trying to figure out what MBS stands for. May Allah help me, I'm not making any ghibah for anyone. He said MBS stands for Muhammad ibn Shaitan. I really laughed when he said that. So, I don't know if you know who MBS is. So, MBS is Muhammad bin Salman, but he said it's not Muhammad bin Salman, it's actually Muhammad bin Shaitan. This is the Crown Prince of Saudi. So, when Saud family was in power, when they came, they did not change the Kaaba. They kept it like that when the floods came in the 40s. So Kaaba has been like that, and now, and we really summarize it, we really put that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as this is how this great event happened in his life, and Kaaba was destroyed 3 or 4 times after that as well. And once it came to the original form how it was before, and after that it is always kept that. Why? Because this was again how Imam Malik interpreted it. He said do not change it and do not make it a toy, and that was wisdom, and that's how we see it today. So inshallah, when you do go back for Hajj, if you, and I think there's a hikmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sorry, I missed another point and I'll mention it. Well, the other change they did in the Kaaba, there was another 2 changes they did. They removed 1 door from the back. Before Kaaba had 2 doors. One is where Hajar Aswad is, and one was right opposite at the back. So one was to enter, one was to leave. So what the Quraysh did, they changed. They closed that back entrance when they brought the Kaaba, when they built it again. The other change they did, they elevated the door of Kaaba. Before Kaaba was on the feet height and you could just open the door and go in. Because there was some stealings This is the narration of Ibn Ishaq, that's his opinion. And then Ibn Sa'd says the otherwise, because Quraysh wanted to feel more elite, so they wanted to control that whoever enters the Kaaba by elevating it and bringing the stairs when they would like. How if you've been there today, there's no staircase or anything, they bring a special staircase, and that's how they climb and they go in. So that's the two other things that happen. I think there was a wisdom of Allah to put the Kaaba like that. The rich people cannot, they're the only ones who pray inside. If you're a president, if you're really rich, you only get the opportunity. People like me and you don't get the opportunity. That's why Allah kept that part which is on the side, which is Hatim and Hajar Ismail, for me and you to enjoy and to pray inside the Kaaba. If you did pray over there, it's like you prayed inside the Kaaba, because that's part of the Kaaba. And that was the wisdom of Allah. And I think Allah wanted it that way. That me and you also, we should not be mahroom from praying inside the Kaaba. Yeah, and if you have been to Umrah and Hajj recently, it's like people are flooded over there. You hardly get a chance to get in. People are just over there. They do not move, they stay over there. And this is the problem with the Muslimin. We are not giving people. Once we get to a place which is a barakah, we just want to be there and we just don't want to share with others. If Muslims were people, and this is my thinking, and I'll finish off with this. Imagine living in our own countries. MashaAllah, in this country, we are so trained, our kids are trained. Pedestrian, we stop the car, everyone walks to it. The bins, we put our rubbish in the bin. Everything. When we go to the shop, we wait for our turns, we take the tickets out, we're in the queue. Everyone is getting the opportunity, everyone's enjoying the benefits. Imagine in our countries, you just flick, you're standing in your first story. We have people living in high-rise buildings. He's just drank a bottle of Pepsi, let's say. Now he's, mashallah, he's the son of the king and the king and the king. So he does not want to go to the bin, he will just drop the bottle from there. He doesn't worry if it drops on someone's head or not. We just throw rubbish out of the window. We don't even know what pedestrian is. We just crowd, we bunch up with people. Even when you go to McDonald's over here, even on a busy day, you know what a queue is. Try buying meal in KFC in Saudi. It's like bees have come all over, and there's no queues. Everyone's climbing on each other. If Muslims were giving people, we could have had a structure. Everyone would have had an opportunity to kiss Hajar Aswad. If we thought about everyone. People, if you've been to Medina, there's a place called Sufa. Sufa was a place where these 40 poor people used to live. Abu Huraira was a part of a Sufa. And that's right behind Rawda, Riyadh al-Jannah, it's right behind that. And it's an elevated place. You see, people are just always sitting there. It's like when they get there, they just sit over there. They don't want to move. And when a person gets into Rawda, he does not pray rak'atayn. He prays 100 rak'ahs in there. If you had the right intention, you only prayed rak'atayn, 2 rak'ah, you made a small dua, and you said, oh Allah, I'm leaving it for my other brothers to come and enjoy as well. Wallahi, the 100 rak'ah you prayed and you became selfish, the reward might be taken away from you. So we really have to be people of giving. We can make things work, it's just that we're too selfish. And when we go back to our countries, we just, I remember, because our kids are, brought up like that. When we litter, they tell us, what are you doing? And I remember my son giving me a lecture, and this is something that I'm not very happy with his teacher, the way he taught. So I threw something, and this is our trip overseas over there, because what I threw was nothing, what was on the road was more than what I was throwing. So I just flicked something as well. And my son said, do you know what's going to happen? And I'm like, what? He said, birds are going to come and they're going to eat it. And what's going to happen? They're not going to be able to digest it. And what's going to happen? They're going to die. What's going to happen? And I'm like, okay, stop. I'll pick it up. Don't worry. So it's like, I'm like, alright, I don't want to hear what's going to happen. I'll just pick it up, I'll put it in the bin. So it is a good training that way. These people, how can they become so, prone to these, the akhlaq and all these things of our religion, and we've forgotten them? You know, when we go back to our country, as if someone has changed the memory card in us, and we start acting like, but you know what, don't be like over here as well, because you'll be just standing in the queue. You'll be like, what's happening? Everyone's coming from here. You have to be smart as well. Don't just stand on the road, okay, if it's going to be a green man and I'm going to walk. You never know, there might not even be a green man there. Some people in Pakistan don't even stop for green man. They stop when probably the petrol runs out. That's the only time the car stops on the traffic light. Everyone, so we need to inculcate these manners in our children, and we need to grow how they're growing in these manners. So this brings us an end, and inshallah now Prophet Muhammad in the next series will be the Prophet of Allah, and he will get the Risala, he will get the revelation. So now if anyone's got a question, we're going to take questions. And as I said, you know, we're going to conclude on that. Today I want to make it special, and we are coming in an end towards Muharram. We'll just make a little dua for this community and everyone. And as I said to you, to remember Brother Ahmed, his wife and his family, and the du'as, what they do for this community in the background. And especially, as I told you, the favors upon me as well, and I know you all have been blessed with those favors. And the activities they've been doing to keep this community lively, it takes a lot of effort. It's not just the planning on the keyboard where they just arrange, it takes their time and their effort, and to really come out and to do this, it's the sacrifice. We really want to make a special dua for this family, and also I want to make a dua for include all of you as well. And you know, they've got a camp coming. Please send your children. I mean, this guy, you can trust him with your eyes closed. No, you're running that camp, right?
Which one?
The 9th and the 10th and the 11th, the 3-day camp. I was on the website.
The code up one? The code camp? No.
There was a camp, but I don't know, maybe I read an older camp when I was going through it. Was an older one? There is a camp, right? See, your mom knows, you probably don't even know that.
Which one? Oh, I didn't know that was on the website. Yeah, okay, yeah.
So please be part of that. And it's a great activity for your kids. What they're doing is our kids need a connection. Remember, we don't want to bombard our kids with religion all the time. We want to give them activities, and this is what they're doing in a very Islamic way. So I do think what I read, it was a 3-day camp. And you can participate in that, and they've got a family picnic coming as well. Look, help the community, Allah will help us, and I'll make dua for your families, whatever difficulties, whatever trials and tribulations you are going through, may Allah bring an ease to that. And may Allah bless this community as well, and also may Allah bless us, that we are the ones who take this banner of Islam and take it, it's like a baton. You know, the Americans say baton. So it's like a baton. So we don't need to give it, it's a relay race. We want to give it to the next one. So, and we all are carrying it. And you know, in a relay race, what's the difference between a relay race and a static race? Well, what's the difference? I mean, you guys have run a relay. I mean, tell me what's the difference in a relay race? The person who's waiting for a relay is not static, he's moving. So we need these kids to be moving. We have to go and give them the baton. So they need to hold it. They can't just be there. They have to take a start. And that start will come through these activities. So that's the difference about relay. The one who's waiting for the baton is actually moving. He's slowly moving. Why? Because he needs to come in that pace as well, so he can gather pace and he can pass it to the next one. He doesn't just stand over there. I don't know if you have ever watched a relay race. So he's getting ready and he's moving his feet and he's just getting ready for the baton to be passed to him. So this is what it is, and that's what they're doing. Look, but at the same time I'll advertise myself. Next Friday I'm doing the khutbah over there. So you bring your families over there as well. I'm actually going to speak about heroes and the heroines in the community. So come, I'll give you the title. So inshallah, be a part of that as well. And you know, may Allah bless us as well. May Allah make us a Jama'ah of Jannah. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. So I open it for questions. If you don't have any questions, then we'll say it, we'll call it off. Yes.
are you saying after Khadija, radiallahu anha, the richest man, what was his name?
Walid ibn Mughira.
Walid ibn Mughira, okay. He was rich, but his son wasn't rich.
The Arabs did not want their sons to be spoiled by the lavishness of their money and their wealth. They wanted their sons to be strong, tough. I'll give you an example. And alhamdulillah, Abu Muhammad's not here because Abu Muhammad's daughter got graduated yesterday. And so over there, because we live in mashallah, I didn't know the affluency of Kellyville and Castle in the Hills area. One of the best councils. You know, how do you know the affluency of Hills area? They've got 3 bin collections, while all the peasants in Sydney only have 2 bins, yellow and red. That's where the affluency comes. The rich people have got more rubbish to throw. So yesterday, in the graduation, a mother came, and remember, see, this is what we've hyped up so much. And if you've got sons who've gone through year 12, they've been through graduations as well, right? The graduation system is warped. Why is it warped? They haven't even given the exams yet. You already celebrated. And guess what happened? Now in this graduation, a mother comes with this big key made of Toyota Corolla, the newest model, wrapped up in ribbon, waiting for him in the car park. He's going to drive it home. And some of you actually know that kid already. I'm not going to mention his name. That kid is close to me. So what have you done? And so this is what we've done to our kids. Walid ibn Mughira was rich. He didn't give him a key when he graduated, put him in the woods. This is where you're going to be cutting woods. And that's why he created Khalid ibn Walid, was a general who was strong, who actually had every part of his body had a mark on it. Why? Because his father raised him like that. And that's why I told you, the Arabs sent their kids to the desert. They grew up with the peasants. They didn't have affluency. For Arabs, their affluency was pride. He was, every Qurayshi was after pride, honor. Even today, it's the honor. If the daughter or the son, they marry someone else, and these are the people of pride, they just disown themselves from those. And that's pride in every culture. So that's how it was. Walid ibn Mughira was rich, but he didn't give anything to his son until he deserved it. And when was he deserved it? When he got really old, he was married, that's when he could enjoy that. Even then, he was participating, he was working for his father to get that money. Today we give them so much. See, what we are doing, we're destroying the soul of our kids by that. And I'll explain you how. Now you're giving him a Corolla for something he hasn't even achieved. Now he's going to pass an exam. What are you going to give him? Lamborghini? After that, what are you going to give him? So that's why we're raising kids who are very dissatisfied. We give them so many things. What's next? What's next? We're raising impatient kids. Impatient. They don't even know what patience is. Bulk of the kids don't even know what patience is. They chuck tantrums, they start crying, they just cry left, right, and they just make it miserable. You know, ever since I've brought my kids to the affluent school where I work, in affluency, I've been working in affluency for the last 5 years. So ever since I brought my kids, his demands have gone higher. I'm to him, you know what? I'm not the principal of the school. I'm only the 5th column of the school. Imam's always the 5th column. You know, the 5th column in the magazine. That's where you put the obituaries. You know, when someone dies, like in the corner, that's what the imam's role is in the school. He's the 5th column. I'm like, so they pay me according to that 5th column. I'm not the headline news. So whatever you're dreaming of, is that we're not going to be able to achieve that. So it's a very affluent school. I tell you, if you or your kids or anyone goes there, it is at least 40 to 50% of the kids that come over there, and no exaggeration, they have the newest Apple laptops, which are just out in the market, and I do think it's about $3,000, one of those laptops. And most of the kids actually carry that. These are only year 7 kids. What are their parents going to give them when they get to? And I tell those parents, a $400 will suffice, will do the job. What do they need to do at school? PowerPoint and Word document and going to a website called Manage Back to do your work. I'm sure a $400 Seeratur will do the job. Not doing the graphics or anything. So you have to deprive your kids, and what you have to make them want the next stage. If you give them the next day, you haven't even done anything. And I don't want to be now telling you how the graduation was, even how the dinner was, and the things that people were wearing in the dinner. And there was a rumor, I don't know how true it was, one of the kids was wearing a $150,000 watch. And I'm saying to my colleague, and this is one of my good friends in the school, and I say, you know what, let's take his watch, and I'll pay half of my mortgage. So we'll put a deposit towards the house, and you can use the half for your deposit as well. That's it. No, it's fine. It's $150,000. He also came in a Lamborghini. So I said, you know what? If we can get that Lamborghini, we can also have a house in Castle Hill. Imagine that. Actually, he does live in Castle Hill, I found out. So this is what it is. So it's always these things that we're giving our kids. That's why we're making them impatient, dissatisfied. They're never happy. Why? Because you gave them the best thing. What are you going to give after that? What are you going to give after that? What's next? So when you want to give your child a pen, don't give him a Parker pen. Give him the big pen, the BIC, the one which is only 50 cents. So let him work his way through. And when he works his way, then you can give him a Parker. So a Parker's not that cheap. It's not that expensive, only $10. But let him work for that. 10 more stages to get there. So I'll leave you guys with that. So anyone else have a question? That's why Khalid bin Walid was leading the army, and he was better general than Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan never lost a war, but Genghis Khan did not defeat the likes of Rasulullah. Khalid bin Walid defeated the likes of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was a man who was behind the loss of the Muslims on the day of Uhud. That was Khalid bin Walid. Radiallahu anhu. We respect him. He was a Sahaba. So, anyone else has got a question? And trust me, I'm not following the Sunnah of Rasulullah. I'm not raising my kids like Khalid bin Walid. Imagine if I start raising them like that, I'll be in docks. They're going to be raising me like Khalid bin Walid then after that. So we live in a country where we have a balance as well. We don't have to be Walid ibn Mughira. At least be Abu Talib. You give them, you don't give them. It's like that. Is anyone else? Any question? Yes?
See how the person who started to do war, when it came out, the light came.
Yes.
Did it blind the person?
No, it was a blinding light. So when I blinded him. It's like a phrase. Yeah, look, great question. I really admire when kids ask questions. So that means you've been listening. You're not like my son. It's like, there are 3 kinds of people. One, I'm the third one, and Ahmed is the first one. So Ahmed sitting in the back is the first one, and if you want to be, you can be the second one. The first ones are the ones who make the change. That's the first kind of person. Second one is the one who see and who are observing the change happen. So they just are watching it, everything is changing. And I'm the third one. What happened? What happened? So you want to be the first one, the one who is making the change. The second one is still okay, but don't be like me. What happened? So yeah, so anyone else? No, inshallah, we'll close it off over here. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفر الله والغفور الرحيم.